All right, so the impeachment proceedings are official now. It looks like shambling asshole Nancy Lugosi walked the articles of impeachment up to the Senate, and we're ready to go for the 8th or the 9th. And Trump will be tried for incitement of insurrection. Well, I hope, what's his name, Bowser there has his fucking working boots on, because he's definitely going to have to put out a compelling case of press play on the video recorder, and here you guys go. What in that speech there was an incitement to an insurrection? Oh, nothing cool. Can we be gone by lunch? Yeah. Probably won't be that long. It's supposed to be what? Like fucking 3 days. We've seen reports, but who fucking knows how long this dog and pony show is going to take. But let's get the official jargon out of the way, I suppose. House Democrats presented an article of impeachment against Donald Trump, a man who's no longer president, but we're still going to impeach him because we're spiteful hacks, to the Senate on Monday night, kicking off proceedings for an unprecedented second trial that could have major consequences for the former president's political prospects. Yeah, that's all this is, okay? Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland, one of 9 House Democrats named as prosecutors in the upcoming trial, read the article of impeachment on the Senate floor. In his address, Raskin quoted from Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which he said prohibits any person who has engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States from holding any office under the United States. Well, you still got to get a supermajority in the Senate, and it ain't fucking likely. And you know how much of a farce this looks like from afar? Okay, it looks like a total dog and pony show. This looks like a kangaroo court of the highest order. And it even goes up to the Supreme Court, and they are notorious for trying to shirk their responsibilities. So it didn't come as much of a surprise that John Roberts, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, didn't really want to take part in this. Not because he's lazy, not because he's cowering under his desk, which I can't really put past him, but more importantly, this is just useless and worthless. Like, what the fuck? You had a show trial in the House of Representatives. You didn't really have an honest trial. It was 8 hours from the time that the article was drafted to the time that you guys voted on it. Fuck, at least the first impeachment went for a fucking month. Like, what are we doing here? This is just completely and 100% taking a look at that from holding any office in the United States in the future. That is all they want to do. There is a 2-part vote or 2-part procedure to this, okay? They need the supermajority. They need the 67 votes in the Senate in order to convict Donald Trump, okay? In order to convict him for inciting an insurrection. Highly unlikely. Unless Mitt Romney clones himself a whole bunch of times, it's just not gonna fucking happen. But in order for, let's just say, hypothetically, that occurs, okay? They drug a bunch of senators the night before, and then they just put Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff have 17 different senators, and they just grab a couple they grab some squad members or whatever. They put senators' hands on a fishing pole, and then they just raise them whenever they ask for a vote. Stranger things have happened. They still need to have another vote in order to disbar Trump for ever holding office again, okay? But that one there is just a simple majority. But that can't happen before the conviction happens. So it's kind of stupid why you need such a high bar for the first vote in order for the second vote to be, just a simple majority. It's not likely to happen, but that's the entire thing that they're trying to do. And they're trying to figure out right now if there is a way to disbar Trump from holding office again and just force that simple majority vote to come through, because obviously the Democrats have the votes for it right now. Okay? The tiebreaker is the president of the Senate right now, and that's Kamala Harris. Ugh. I don't think anybody wants her to be back into the Senate because she was there for just a fucking cup of coffee, and nobody wants to hear her screeches ever again in their chambers. So to circle back around to John Roberts, he's not going to be presiding over this because he only has to preside over the impeachment of the sitting president. So he couldn't be bothered. He thinks that this is fucking total garbage, at least by, electing not to preside over this. So who has to, okay? Immediately I was thinking it was going to be Kamala Harris, and that right there would be quite the conflict of interest. Because honestly, you're presiding over a trial, and you would effectively hold the political future of your possible opponent in 2024, because let's be honest, I don't think Joe Biden's going to be seeking a second term in office. So, motherfuckers are going to be 80 2 years old and 83 by inauguration day 2025. So with that said, who has to take over these proceedings because Roberts is, I don't know, just not going to show up? Is one senator from Vermont. No, not that senator. That would be Pat Leahy. He is the Senate President Pro Tempore. The most senior member of the Senate Democratic Conference will preside over the trial. Leahy is a total swamp creature. The motherfucker has been in office since Gerald Ford was president. Okay? He is in his 8th term in the Senate. He is 80 years old, okay? Tried to do some background. It's like, okay, what does this guy stand for? And just because he's going to be judging the proceedings, he's just going to be sitting there making sure that everything is civil. Like, what's his background? And the best thing I could find out, because he has a long list of accomplishments being in the Senate. He's been the senator the entire time since 1979. Holy fuck. Oh, I'm sorry, 75. Durr. Still, that was 15 years before I was born. And yeah, he's not likely to give up his seat anytime soon. But yeah, just doing a little bit of research on his background. And the most comprehensive thing I could find about him is his political opinions are kind of shaped like whatever container you pour them into. Like, the guy doesn't have a backbone. He's a political chameleon, just like Joe Biden, okay? Wherever the Democrats are going, that's where Pat's voting, so. He's just some old dude who's going to be sitting there banging the gavel every once in a while, just calling on people to talk, so cool. Meanwhile, Chucky and Gamera are going to fucking preside over their sides, different arguments. It'll be funny to see what the turtle does, because if Mitch McConnell is going to be voting against Trump, is he going to be calling on his own senators to present the case why he shouldn't be impeached? Or I guess we'll figure out what kind of a deal Mitch cut with Trump while he was still in office in regards to that pardon list. So it could get a little sketchy. But it got me thinking here. It's like, that motherfucker is 80 years old, okay? I've been banging on about term limits, and I was thinking, it's like, is this guy gonna fucking finally kick the can and decide that, yeah, I'll probably walk it back and not seek re-election in 2022? Because he's up then, okay? And there is a growing list of crazy rhinos right now that aren't going to be seeking another term in 2022. I'm just wondering if there are going to be any other Democrats that are just going to decide to, yeah, peace out. Because I almost feel bad for Vermont because they have Leahy and they have Bernie Sanders. One's 80 and Bernie Sanders is like on the front porch of 80. Like, he looks like he's going on 120, but I think he's only like 78 or 79 only. There are some spots opening up, and that's what I want to talk about, because the impeachment proceedings, yeah, we don't really know. We know who's going to be in charge, and we know what the arguments are going to be. Hey, look at the speech. Nothing's there, so don't vote for it because it's fucking dumb. So yeah, hopefully we'll just be able to fucking push that off for the next couple of weeks and just wait for Trump to show up. But right now, there are 3 senators that are not going to be seeking re-election, and Ohio's Rob Portman will not be seeking re-election in 2022, which is a good thing. Now, Portman's just an old establishment guy, and his running mate in the state, which, remember, was just about 9 points for Trump in the previous election. He's not going to be up. His name is Sherrod Brown, and he's a Democrat, and he's going to be up in 2024, and oh, buddy, is he going to get fucking steamrolled then, because he just won in a squeaker there in the midterms. But yeah, if Trump's going to be on the ballot in 2024, or whoever's going to be running under the MAGA GOP banner, yeah, Godspeed and thank you for your service. But because the state went so, for all intents and purposes, Fox News, every outlet was saying, oh, Ohio's a swing state, so is Florida. How are those 9 and 5-point victories looking? And those were states that had very, very strict and stringent mail-in ballot rules and enforcement. So, you know, there was no real fuck-ups going on there. Nobody was contesting any of those results. But the polling was so accurate. Shut up. But who else is not going to be seeking re-election in 2022? Well, Senator Pat Toomey. God bless. God bless. And Richard Burr of North Carolina. Okay, that's the list right now. But they also have some other holes that could be filled. Okay, Iowa was supposed to be another one of those swing states, but I think it was like 4 or 6 points that Trump won the state of Ohio by. And 87-year-old Chuck Grassley is supposed to be up in 2022, but Yeah, remember, being a senator is a 6-year term, and yeah, there's just going to be a hole there, to be completely honest. In no good conscience could you possibly run for a 6-year term if you're going to be 88 years old by the time that you have to declare that you're going to run, like, for fuck's sakes. That would be selfish to the highest level. And also, Republican Ron Johnson from Wisconsin hasn't said if he's going to run for a 3rd term. Wouldn't break my heart. Would not break my heart one bit. So there are immediately some targets, okay, that are immediately going to need some replacement. And for all intents and purposes, they will probably be filled by MAGA candidates, okay? If they're going to be backed by Trump, we've seen what happened whenever Trump gets behind a candidate in the primaries. They tend to win. Like, okay, you look at what Brian Kemp was doing. He was fucking trailing hard behind the other candidates. And then as soon as Trump gave him his endorsement, the motherfucker blew the doors off the primary, and he was supposed to lose to Stacey Abrams, but we know how that unfortunately turned out. Listen, it was the lesser of two evils in the long run, because imagine if Stacey Abrams was actually running Georgia for the past election. Yeah, that would not have been a swing state whatsoever, and it would have just been far more transparent, and nobody would have cared what actually happened down there. But yeah, so not that long ago, when we took a look at all the senators that would be up for election, I think that was definitely like last week at a time. A couple of these names weren't up there yet, but hey, they're immediately going to be taken out because they just aren't going to be seeking re-election in 2022. And that's a good thing. That's a good opportunity to see what direction the Republican Party is going to be going in. I think the first big test is going to be this impeachment trial, okay? And then in the primaries and then the run-up to the 2022 election, midterm election, is going to be the next great indicator where the party's going. And we also looked at governorships that are up. And we had a pretty big name pop up for one of the governorships from a modest-sized state, but a state that did go considerably red, has a considerable amount of support for Trump behind it, and that would be Arkansas. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders has thrown her name into the ring, and this one's going to be very, very interesting, because even after she left being press secretary, she has still maintained a very strong relationship with the Trump and the Trump base. So she is going to be facing, yes, Arkansas Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin, considered by many to be the GOP establishment candidate. Yeah, so this will be another big test, okay? If she can come up out of nowhere, listen, she is kind of a legacy vote because Mike Huckabee is her father and was a governor before, so she will have a leg up in that regards, like an Andrew Cuomo type situation. And I'm not a fan of building up these dynasties, these Clinton-like dynasties, Bush-like dynasties. But when you're building a movement like this populist movement, like this MAGA movement, you're going to need people that are loyal to the cause, and there's nothing that puts me off in thinking that she's not going to be one of these type of people, okay? Be willing to be proved wrong, but so far I haven't seen anything out of her that would make her seem less than loyal, so we'll just have to see what's going to happen with Trump, because, okay, the dude is just laying low, okay? He had CNN taking pictures from the bushes like, oh, on his first day off, he was golfing. Yeah, he's a private citizen. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. And the next time Trump is probably going to pop up is, yeah, for his impeachment trial. That's going to be happening, and that's going to be a shit show in and of itself. And I look forward to covering it, sort of, maybe, I don't know. But at the same time, I just seen this, and I have to include it because it's going to be important for what Trump does over the next 4 years. I haven't had a good laugh like this in a very long time. And it still makes me chuckle because this is directly from the office of Donald J. Trump, statement from the office of the former president. Today, the 45th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, formally opened the office of the former president. The office will be responsible for managing President Trump's correspondence, public statements, appearances, and official activities to advance the interests of the United States and carry on the agenda of the Trump administration through advocacy, organizing, and public activism. President Trump will always and forever be a champion of the American people. I thought this was a joke, but it's a total legitimate thing. Remember all of those pictures that had Biden as office of the president-elect? Trump did the exact same thing, and he's going to try to be a shadow president for the next 4 years by just having the same type of press releases, the press conferences that are going to be there. I hope Kayleigh McEnany's back to just fulfill that spot, and they can curate whoever's going to be there to hold the press conferences, and that's exactly what I think is going to happen, because he's going to be building up his own base. See what he's going to do with the media companies, because a lot of reliable people are saying that he's going to be starting his own television, radio, big tech, alternatives out there, okay? And I hope so. I hope that happens. Invest in Parler. Get that out of the fucking muddle fuck that it's currently in right now. I don't know what you want to do. Bring in all of your outsiders right now. Bring Alex Jones in from the cold. The dude is going off right now, and it's great. And listen, some people are a little bit skeptical when I'm saying listen to what Alex Jones has to say, but dude is not as crazy as people paint him as being. He's pretty accurate on a bunch of stuff, but there is nobody who is more entertaining. And if you just watch him by taking a little grain of salt, it's certainly helpful to just get your information, but then have a good laugh at the same time. And I hope this is the first step in doing this. Okay, setting up the office of the former president. I fucking love it. I hope he just takes that former badging of the office of the president-elect that Joe Biden stood behind for 2 months fraudulently, and he just wholesale rips it off and removes the elect to former. This warms my heart, and I thought it was the perfect way to end this, because this is going to be the start of something great. And for the first time in American history, there's going to be a legitimate oppositional party that is just waiting in the wings and just building itself up over the next 4 years. It's fucking beautiful. And hopefully it just takes the opportunity to really go through everybody that's going to be assembling together and put the right people in place this time. Get your old advisors back. Maybe that pardoning of Steve Bannon was kind of putting everything in place. So you know what? You have the right people churning out ideas on the campaign trail. And I think Jared Kushner would make one hell of a good bellboy. So yeah, let's see where this goes. This is just hot off the presses. So who knows? Well, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.